I'm sure you've seen a lot in your position over the last few years.
We've definitely seen some funny stuff. Lots of dogs peeing on couches, for instance.
Hey everyone, it's Alex with CouchDotCom. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Chinedu, who is the founder and CEO of Mulberry. Mulberry is a product protection, or some people may call it extended warranty company, and operating in the new digital age. How you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Alex.
Fantastic. So the first question is, what is Mulberry?
Mulberry essentially is an e-commerce solution that gives online shoppers product protection on any products they're buying online. Let's say you buy a laptop from an e-commerce retailer and your laptop stops working, you spill water on the laptop, etc. Instead of going to pay full freight for a replacement product, if you have a Mulberry protection plan, we actually take care of that for you. We either repair the damage, we reimburse you the cost of the product, or we just purchase a replacement laptop for you. So the way to think about our business is as long as the product itself has a lifespan longer than a year, we have the ability to build out protection plans for it. As long as a product is not a consumable, I define a consumable as, let's say, a bag of chips, for instance, printer, paper, right? As long as it's not a consumable, we have the ability to provide sort of like peace of mind and downside protection. So when you think about spaces such as small appliances, whether it's your coffee machine, your toasters, we work with merchants in that space. We work with large appliances, whether it's your fridge, your dishwasher, etc. We work with merchants in the jewelry space. We, of course, work with merchants in the consumer electronics. And we're one of the few sort of like providers that work in the apparel space. So as you think about buying your footwear, your clothes, your bags, your wallets, we actually have the ability to offer product protection plans on those. And so that's something that we really pride ourselves on, which is broad spectrum coverage. When you think about what we're trying to do at the end of the day, we want to be the default means by which an online shopper gets peace of mind on whatever they are purchasing. And so our mandate is always geared towards expanding category coverage as much as possible.
Let's get back to basics. Now, a lot of people watching this will have very little context surrounding product protection, specifically in the furniture space, and whether they have recently bought an extended warranty or product protection on their new couch or other furniture items, or are considering it. I think we should cover some of the basics just to answer, the top questions that people have. What generally, so let's take a couch, for instance.
Mm.
It is couch.com after all. Let's use a couch. So if somebody buys a couch and they purchase product protection on that couch, what can they expect? What are the sort of the do's and don'ts? What is covered? What is not covered?
So let's say you buy your couch, you're drinking a glass of soda or something, and you spill it on your couch, right? Sort of like changing the color of the couch, etc. We will cover that defect. Let's say, for instance, your couch rips, which shouldn't happen often, but sometimes does happen. We will also cover that damage if there's a seam separation, if there's an issue with the zipper of the cushions, for instance, we cover that. If one day your couch just sort of like breaks and deforms, that's also covered by your protection plan.
I think one of the key things that people may not expect is something that you alluded to. This also covers them in the case of accidents. What are the nuances to this part of it? Because I think it's amazing.
There isn't really sort of like any deviations from the coverage. It's pretty straightforward, which is if you spill something on your couch and like the couch is damaged, we're going to cover it. Now, the nature of the damage will, the nature of sort of the coverage will vary. In some cases, we might send a repair person over to help sort of clean the couch professionally for you. In other cases, we might determine, hey, this thing is damaged, sort of like beyond repair, and we're actually going to focus on let's get a replacement for it. In that case, we might work with the merchants to get a replacement cushion shipped to you, for instance. In other cases, the damage might be so significant to the overall product that we just need to go ahead and replace the overall product as well, and we will do that.
I'm sure you've seen a lot in your position over the last few years. I don't know. You tell me, is there any crazy stories that come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, for by and large, our team, I believe, does like a pretty good job in terms of like adjudication. So there are very few instances where I need to step in. We've definitely seen some funny stuff, lots of dogs peeing on couches, for instance, which is always interesting to deal with. And so we get called in for that. We've seen some cases that are a little bit sort of like less clear cut. In some cases, if there's like a manufacturing defect, for instance, the couch is sagging, and that's where you sort of need to make a judgment call. And that's where a lot of times you're going to see like the legacy players in this space rejecting a customer. And those are a lot of cases where we look at it and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, it is a manufacturing defect, but let's go ahead and sort of do right by the customer and get this taken care of for them.
You mentioned dogs peeing on couches. Just want to be clear for the CouchDotCom viewers. This is something that's covered with pet protection, or that may be offered in some places and not others, or is that sort of universally offered these days by retail partners that you guys work with?
Yeah, so generally, like the pet damage is sort of like an addendum program, and it's typically not in a lot of the standard plans. We, of course, will offer that to our retail partner, and in some cases, for retail partners, that's a use case that they want to support, in which case we'll include it.
You currently live in New York, but you are not from there originally.
I'm originally Nigerian. I lived in Nigeria until 11. And at the age of 11, we were pretty fortunate in that my father won sort of this visa lottery that the US used to run several decades back. And so we were able to move to the US as a family unit, which was awesome. And so, yeah, moved to the US at the age of 11, moved actually to New Jersey. I remember when we first came to the US, when we landed, it was in the middle of a huge snowstorm back in 2003. And it's funny, we had what we thought were winter coats, but now I know they were not winter coats. They're more like light spring coats. So we were woefully unprepared for the transition, but fortunate enough to figure it out. Ended up going upstate to Cornell for my undergrad, and I really primarily went there just because I used to wrestle in high school. It was way back when I was still a young man and still in shape. Nowadays, things are a little different. But went up to Cornell because they had a really good wrestling program, and I'm still a fan of their wrestling team. Interestingly, I was actually a biology major in undergrad, so graduated from Cornell with a biology degree, but decided that I didn't want to go be a doctor or go to grad school. So that was when I ended up starting the first company and have been at it since.
This is something that I think the idea of purchasing an extended warranty or product protection in general is something that most people are familiar with, whether you've bought a plan before yourself or you've been presented with it. I mean, we're all presented with these options at checkout, at Walmart, or wherever we are. It's a very common thing. So what do you think are the key differentiators between Mulberry and some of the others?
Our differentiator, to put it bluntly, is that we actually care about customers and we are extremely customer focused. In practice, we aim to approve more than 90% of claims that we see. The handful of claims that get declined are really in cases where it's either sort of like fraudulent or the customer is sort of like filing a claim for something that would never be covered, for instance. That's typically the handful of times that we decline, but we aim as a business to approve more than 90% of claims.
I think we should talk also about like the exciting product that you guys unveiled in the last year, which is like, as far as I know, a very groundbreaking and revolutionary approach to this entire industry and could be seen as a disruptor.
We actually launched for us what we think is really going to revolutionize this space, and this is our new Mulberry Unlimited offering. It's sort of like Apple Care, but for the rest of your life, for everything else you buy. The coverage is pretty significant in that for one fixed monthly price, we will cover you for both your sofa from CouchDotCom, we'll cover you for your refrigerator, we'll cover you for your laptop, we'll cover you for your backpack.
This is so different than anything that I have heard of before. So let me ask you that first. Is there anybody else doing something kind of similar?
The closest you might find is there are some legacy providers that offer this within a specific category. And historically, product protection has not really worked this way. Historically, you buy product protection for one specific item. So if you're buying 10 items, you need to buy 10 protection plans, essentially. And those costs add up really, really quickly. And so with the unlimited plan, we took a different framework, which is to say, hey, as an online shopper, you want peace of mind, but you don't want to have to pay for peace of mind every single time. And so we give you the ability to enroll in our unlimited plan. You can either do this via our website on getmulberry.com, or you can do this via a partner retailer. And once you're enrolled, as you shop online, we give you the ability to automatically add the items you buy into your unlimited coverage and the ability to file claims easily whenever you want.
Chinedu, you have been extremely helpful. This was a wonderful conversation, and I hope we can call upon you again to answer the many questions that our customers may have in the future about extended warranties and product protection in the furniture space. May we call upon you again?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.